Straight Out of BS podcast. Thank you guys for your continued support. I really appreciate it. Please make sure you're continuing to share the videos, liking the videos, subscribing if you're not already. It really helps the algorithm. I'm also on Rumble now, which is considered like the free speech platform. As many of you probably know, YouTube has some policies that might not eventually, when I do reach like 1,000 subscribers and like become potentially like available to maybe be monetized, there are some things that I talk about that might not be able to be monetized. So with that being said, like, it would be good to follow me on Rumble just in case. It's also another backup place you can find the videos. I'm also on Patreon. There's a free tier. Even if you don't want to pay, there's a free tier. And so those are like two backups. I just wanted to shout that out real quick. And then also wanted to shout out the Discord too. I have a Discord with a bunch of different like topics and whatnot. And I also have a like invite only like private group for people that maybe feel targeted by certain members in the community or have had like issues with just like doxing or just like a bunch of like negative things in the community. So if that's like something that's happened to you and you still want to be part of a community, I got you. Just like join the Straight Out BS Discord, and then I'll send you a private invite. There is like a sort of a vetting process because I'm not gonna like certain people in with other people that have problems with them. I'm just not gonna allow that to happen. Because it's just like it's supposed to be an environment for people to be able to heal. It's not supposed to be like you shouldn't have to worry about other stuff in that environment. So it should be like no hate environment type thing. So just wanted to shout that out too because I put a lot of work into it and I'm trying to get the word out there about that more. I want to do a moment of silence for the person still struggling or having intrusive thoughts. So on the count of 3, I'm going to do a moment of silence. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for that. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce my guest for today. Go ahead and introduce yourself and where you went and what years.
Hi, thank you for having me, Jordan. My name is Dianna Perez-Smith. I went to Academy at Ivyridge. I went from June 2003 and I graduated the program August 2005. I went in at 16 and I left at, 15 turned 16, and then I left the program at 18, almost 19. I graduated August of 05. My birthday is September. So just like shy about a month of almost turning 19.
Okay. And were you transported? Or hold on a second. Before we get to that, what led up to you being sent there and like walk us through like how your childhood was?
Sure. So I had a pretty tumultuous upbringing. I came from a rather abusive background, physical abuse, mental abuse, so psychological abuse, and I I guess I rebelled, because I was treated like crap, and as a child, you're not emotionally intelligent. You kind of just do with what you have. And what I had was just like, I just like rebelled and I was like angry. So I was basically always told that I was wrong, or, that I was basically that I was wrong and I was never validated. So I was just like, well, like, screw it then. I'm just going to do me. And I wasn't even doing anything bad, like it was just my attitude, because I was just treated bad for no reason. And so anyway, so not no reason, but because my mom had her own trauma and, and so on and so forth, So,
Yeah.
And I actually got sent to a wilderness program. It's called Sage Walk. I went to Ivyridge 03. I went to Sage Walk 02, summer of 02. And it's, one of those wilderness programs. And I was sent for, just bad behavior. I think I might have smoked a little weed here and there, but nothing, fortunately, nothing like super damaging to me, like that's You know, I look at that. I look at that and I'm like, you know, it could have been way worse, you know. And so, but anyway, that was the case. And, you know, looking back, I just definitely felt like my mom was just trying to like, I think there was some notion of help, but there was a lot of like wanting to get rid of me. Like and it all just stems from the trauma I had from my childhood and not being really adequately loved, you know? So, and then, you know, so I went to the wilderness program that like did nothing except for learning how to survive in the wilderness and crap in your own dug hole.
Mm.
Crazy. But you know, I came back from that and yeah, I mean, the, I needed love, right? I needed like I need to be sent away. I needed to
Yeah.
be nurtured and loved and harbored and you know all of that, comforted and spoken to, right? None of that happened, and so I got sent to Ivyridge in '03.
Okay.
And you had a question, but I wanted you to go ahead.
Okay. Well, were you transported? How did you get there? And also, did you know you were going to be sent? Like, first, did you know you were going to go to the wilderness place, and then did you know prior to going to Ivy Ridge you were going to go there? And then also, what were you told if you knew?
Yeah, so thankfully I was told both times. When I went to the wilderness program, I was told, and when I went to Ivyridge, I was told. The weirdest thing about me being told that was that I was told, well, like my mom didn't take me. It was like my uncle, like, and my estranged uncle at that, like not somebody that like I would like talk to constantly. It was bizarre. It was like I'm sure they gave her the option of being, you know, transported, but she wasn't about it. And so she told me like, so the wilderness program was camp, you know, and I'm
Like
like,
summer camp,
yeah,
right?
totally
Yeah.
100% you're just going to camp. I was stoked. I was like, oh my God, like because my mom sheltered me so much when she told me I was going to camp, I was like, you know, like that was just like, you know, whatever. I was just super stoked, and then I get there and I'm like super depressed, you know, like
Yeah.
like like, you know, and they blindfolded me all the way there. It's just wild, like the stuff that you go through as a child and you don't question it. Like you just go with it and you think it's okay. At least I did,
Yeah.
you know, and anyway, so I didn't get transported to the wilderness program. I knew about it, and the same thing for Ivyridge. I knew about it, but I didn't know it was a behavioral modification. No, it was like, oh, you're going to boarding school.
Like an
And
actual boarding school.
like an actual boarding school, not like, you know, you're like same thing as camp, like as the wilderness program. They didn't tell me it was a wilderness program. They told me it was camp.
Yeah.
So they didn't, she didn't completely lie, but she omitted big time,
Yeah.
right?
Which is pretty
Um,
much fine.
which is pretty much lying, yeah. So I didn't get transported, but the same thing, my uncle took me, which it's just bizarre. But yeah, I didn't have that trauma of being transported, which I don't know, it's nuts that that's even allowed and legal.
Yeah. Did your uncle know anything about it, this place, or was he just told you're driving her
You know
here?
what? That's a good question that I don't know the answer to.
Or okay.
Because from what I remember, when I came back from the wilderness program, he also picked me up.
Oh, interesting.
Um, Ivy Ridge I graduated with my mom, you know, PC3, the whole thing, right? So I was left with her. But the wilderness program, once you were done, you went back to like, you know, from the desert, you were secluded in the, I mean, you know how they are. They seclude you way, way, way out there. Um, and yeah, when I got back, it was like my uncle that was there. And I don't know how much he knew, how much he didn't know. I don't know if they were paying him. No clue.
Okay. When you got there, what do you remember about when you first got to Ivy Ridge?
Um, oh, um, I remember automatically being like strip searched, like right away. It was like the moment you walked in, they didn't like they took you straight to the room. And I didn't feel necessarily like violated. I was just like I was more just like, why is this happening? Because again, I was like going to boarding school, you know, I had nothing on me. I didn't have any like, you know, like I'm just like like I'm a good kid. Like what's going on, you know? And then and then what I do remember that it was just so instant. It was like there's no preparation. It was like sudden, you have to be mute. Like you can't talk. You can't even look outside the window. Like I can't look out. Like they set you up for failure. Like they put you smack in front of a window to do your classes. And like so those little things, like I remember them being so fast, like so like, you know what I mean? Like this like almost like a culture shock.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell is going on? But just go along with it, you know? Like I didn't refuse until I did. But when I first went in, I just was like, I think what I remember the most honestly was just like that feeling of like shock and of uh, like I thought this was a normal boarding school, not really understanding what's going on, but knowing like, okay, like behave, you know? And yeah, like I just remember it being like, you know, automatic, like, you know, right into your uniform. And they tell you really fast, like really, really fast, like in brief, right? Because you have a whole buddy and the whole thing for 3 days, but like really fast, they tell you like, all right, they tell you that you're gonna have a whole buddy, follow the rules. This. It's just like so much information being thrown at you, and you're like, hold up, like thought this was a normal boarding school. I thought this, you know, and yeah. So I just remember honestly, now that you know, I think about it, it's like this major state of shock, and physically, just remember being like strip searched. It was a woman's staff, an upper level, and I believe another staff there, and then myself. And it was uncomfortable. Like I said, I'm like, why is this happening? I was a kid, you know. I don't know. Like my mom didn't even do that to me. So I mean, I said I didn't feel violated, but I did feel uncomfortable. You know, I felt like this is bizarre. I felt like it was just like out of place for me. Um, so yeah, so that state of shock was just kind of like very, very real when I first got there.
Okay. Do you remember them giving you any sort of like physical rule manual that had like the rules in it and all that stuff? And like what you
Yeah. So it's crazy, Jordan. My memory is very I remember a lot and then I don't remember a lot. It's like crazy how, you know, you know, how spotty the memory is when it comes to the program. I do remember getting a physical manual. And I had it like, you know, it was like you had to like study it, you know, and you could talk to like the Hope Buddy, you know, I believe that's what they would call them, the Hope Buddy, our Hope Buddies. Um, and
first got there, right? They'd show you the ropes.
They like literally that was the only person that you could like speak to, interact with. And you know, you had like 3 days to learn like a crap ton of rules. Um, I mean, I wish I had it to show you, you know, but it's like a pamphlet. It's like not a paper, it's a pamphlet. You know, it's a whole
Yeah.
thing. It's a book, basically. And you know, you had those 3 days to, like I said, it was just an overload of information. Um, and then you're trying to figure out where you are at the same time, and then you also miss your family. It's like, oof, you know. But yes, I did get like a rule manual for like that's the probably the first thing that they did. It's like, boom, here you are, you know.
Okay. And how many people would you say went, if you like just a complete estimation, it doesn't have to be accurate at all, but on the girls' side, how many girls do you think were there when you got there, and how many do you think were there when you left?
So when I got there, I want to say like, so we were still in dorm one. They didn't, I want to say like maybe 100, 50 to 100. And then when I left, it was like 300.
Okay, wow. Okay.
There were a lot of were being, kids, students, whatever. There were a lot of us that were being like that were new to the school, and then there was when Casa got shut down, and or when was it Casa or in Tranquility Bay, and then like a bunch of people came to us, like a bunch of people. And so the facility grew a lot in numbers that way as well. I remember that because I was there for that, and it was like we had to like open up a whole new dorms and everything.
Okay, so you were there almost were you there 2 years?
Yeah,
Almost two
I was
years, right?
there. Yeah, I was there a little over two. I was there so 24. I was there 27 months.
Okay, I was at Spring Creek for 22 months, so yeah. Um, okay. How long after you got there did they put you through your first seminar, and which seminar was it? Was it orientation or discovery?
So you know what? I don't remember orientation,
Okay, it
but
might have been a thing at there.
no, like I think it was because I've talked about it with fellow, Ivy Ridgers, and there was an orientation. I just don't know why I don't remember it. And I also get like I do remember Discovery, but I don't know why I feel like I get a little confused with Focus. Um, Now back to your question. Sorry. So yeah, I remember Discovery. So how far along after? You know what? I would know this if I had my seminar binder, which is the one thing that I have. But oof, I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know. Yeah.
Do you remember if your first seminar involved the towels?
So that's what okay, so that's what I was thinking of when I think of like Discovery and Focus on like which one was the towels. And I've talked about this with Ivy Ridges, and I forget what the answer is. And we've like bounced around and like it's Discovery, it's Focus, we don't know. And I'm like,
I think it's both. I think it's both, honestly. I think orientation might have been the one because I was thinking for a while that all three seminars, like orientation, discovery, and focus, because they had orientation at Spring Creek where I went for a while, but then they got rid of it. And then it was just discovery and then straight into focus. And
mhm.
so what I'm trying to figure out is like if like orientation, because I went through orientation and I slightly remember, like I'm like 85% sure that there was towels involved in orientation too. But then a part of me is like, I don't like if I'm like if this is like the introduction to like seminars supposedly, right? I don't think I'm gonna throw that intense of an experience at somebody the first time. Like,
Right,
you know what
right.
I mean? So
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't in orientation and maybe they ramped it up in discovery and
The
focus. Because
Discovery
I know
Focus.
for a fact that it was in discovery and focus, at least when at where I was at Spring Creek.
Same,
They
same.
had
Like,
they had different amounts. Like for discovery, it was like a certain amount of time you had to beat the floor, and then for focus, it was like twice that amount of time. I remember, at least where I went, it was like a lot longer. Like they made you beat the floor for a quick minute.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely remember that experience as like 100%. And as far as, because I do you remember like after the beating of the towels, it would be like you would lay out and it would like
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that very like as almost as if I was there. Like I remember being in the center room and everything, but like I don't remember what seminar.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna honestly start doing some research into orientation because I'm gonna start asking what people remember about that seminar because I don't even remember really the processes from orientation. I
Did you
remember them.
graduate?
I graduated. Yeah.
So do you remember keys, for example, the
Yeah.
key seminars?
Yeah.
I didn't until I did. And then I was like, oh my God, that's right. We had seminars as upper levels. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, the seminars on the upper levels weren't as like memorable, if you will, you know, like
No.
like the first one that you do when you're on the upper levels, at least where I was principles, and then it was it was keys. I think it was principles, keys, and then PC1, PC2, and PC3. I might be I know it was principles, which might have been accountability where you were. They call it different things. But it was the one that was like 95% reliant on the homework. Like you had to follow the homework to a T. Like that's the only seminar I ever got chosen out of, because they chose me out of that seminar like 3 fucking times. Because it's so easy to, like, you have to literally follow the rules to a T. You cannot mess up one single thing or you get chosen out. They're like, see, you should have been paying attention more. And I think that's part of where my perfectionism comes from. It's like I need things to be like fucking perfect all the time.
Do you remember too, like those seminars, sometimes we would be like, it would go into like, not like super late night in the night, but it would be an all day of activity of like draining of literally like just draining ourselves. And then on top of that, we had like they would wake us up early. I don't know if you remember this. They would wake us up earlier to do our homework for the seminars. And if you didn't do your homework, you'd get chosen out. And it was like, dude, like,
that's an automatic choose out if you don't do your homework.
Like automatic, and you had to like, just fucking crazy. Like as I was like reading about like how the seminars worked, you used to like, when you started the seminar, if you did anything that was like against like seminar, like the rules, or even if you like got a correction, you'd have to like disclose that, and it was like this whole thing, and they would like badger you if like you said, it was like terrible.
Yeah, they badger you even if you stood up for yourself and was like, I fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's what I remember, like going back to the upper level seminars. That's what I remember the upper levels seminars being like. I feel like it was like almost like a dogfight, like dogfighting, but without the dogfighting.
Yeah, he's like huge on popularity. Like you have to like, big. If you had a bunch of enemies and like they're gonna call you out and be like, he's not doing this, or I saw him like do like, so easy to get chosen out for anything.
Yeah, and you want to like, you want to like look good, in front of the facilitators or whatever, and it's all a brainwash thing, and it's it's toxic. It's toxic to say the least.
For sure. Okay. So well, how long after you got there did they put you into your first seminar? Do you remember that?
I want to say it was like maybe like 2 months. And the thing is that I forget, you had to have a certain amount of points, I believe. And if not, being like a level 2 in order to go through like discovery, for example. I know for focus, you had to be at least a level 2, I believe, if not a level 3.
Yeah, I think orientation was the only one that you could go in. Maybe they made that one for people like, so everybody would have to experience, like, even if you were going to refuse the program, like, then you would still have to experience at least one seminar or whatever. Like, I feel that was their version of like everybody's involved type thing, you know?
Right. That's what I feel like there was an orientation for me, but I could be mistaken. Again, my seminars thing are a little like don't remember them so well. As far as like the chronological order of them, and like but I believe about like 2 months in, I did my first one, and I went up in levels like not quick, but like I didn't. I mean, yeah, if level 3 felt like, I feel like for everyone, it felt like forever to get to level 3. But anyway, once I got to level 3, and I did focus, or whenever I did focus, whether it was level 3 or level 2.
Yeah, that was 3.
It was 3, right?
Yeah, 3's focus, yeah.
So yeah, that one, Yeah, I don't know. Again, like the seminars are so like the actual things in them, like the subject, like the topics and everything that we would talk about. I remember, of course, and the jargon and like the sayings and all of that. But I think like it's they were a bit traumatic that like my brain has like suppressed some of that. Um, even though I know that they made it seem like, oh, this is helpful, this is like, kind of like, yeah, they gave it this shining positive light on it. And really it was just, if I look back, I'm like, that was very bizarre and weird and culty, and what was going on there?
Yeah.
Um, and it's crazy because it's still going on.
Yeah, it's crazy. Do you remember, okay, do you remember after a seminar, do you remember feeling like high? Like, do you remember like literally feeling like, because I would be literally like, I'd feel high. Like, I literally would feel like I'd just be like high on life after a seminar. Like, because I mean, maybe not for everybody, but some people just feel high after they get out of a seminar. Did that happen for you?
Um, yeah, I want to say yes. I don't know why. I don't know if there was
Yeah.
I don't know if there really was like a sense of release, and or like, is that a real high, or was that like a fabricated, manipulated high? Like I don't like I question that now, honestly,
Yeah.
because um like it's almost like going through something like really, really hard, really rough, like crying really bad and like letting your emotions out and everything. And then you kind of like feel like you kind of feel like you let something out, right? And then you feel like good, you feel high. Like that, I feel like I felt, but I feel like
It was definitely manipulated.
I was gonna say forced, but like you manipulated is a better word. It was like a manipulated, and it was almost kind of like you're gonna believe that this seminar made you better.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like those were like the in between the lines kind of things that like I never read, I never really saw until now, you know? So I think that the high was there, but I don't think it was like real. I think it was just like do you understand what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was like, I mean, I guess it was
Like
real.
kind of like placebo, sort of.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can relate with you on that, especially the like PC1. I remember, um, yeah, like the ones when I would see my mom, those were big.
Yeah. No, I
Those
felt like
were,
I was first time I saw my parents, I felt like I was floating.
yeah,
Like,
same. I was
just
like elated. I was like, what is going on? I'm like, this is insane the way I feel. Um, but yeah.
okay. Um, let's see. Talking about seminars, do you remember what your stretch was in Focus, where you had to like dance around or like dress up? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. My stretch was Shania Twain. Man, I feel like a woman.
Okay.
God only knows why I was put that stretch. I mean, they tell you, right? I
I
forgot
think
why.
some of them, honestly, I think some of them are random because when I staffed, they'd be like, if they couldn't like directly tell like what your song was supposed to be, then they would be like, okay, we'll just randomly pick. Because I staffed quite a few seminars, so
No, same, me too. And
yeah.
like, you know what's crazy? I was like captain of many, and I don't remember staffing
Yeah,
seminars.
I don't remember too much about staffing seminars.
Like I was like, so I was like captain. I was student council. I was like, I really, was like the perfect like poster child for the program, if you will. Um, but yeah, so I was Shania Twain. Like I said, I don't know. I don't even know why that is a stretch.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, man, I feel like a woman. I don't know. It's
I
weird.
got I got living La Vida Loca, so I mean that's honestly kind of a little bit accurate and that's weird as fuck, but
But but also what kind of stretch is that, right? Like what kind
Yeah.
of like I get like, for example, like girls just want to have fun, maybe Lady in Red, like it's still all really weird and culty and
Yeah.
like not okay. But like some just didn't make any sense. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. A lot of it is fucking, none of it makes
And
sense.
let me ask you something. Did you go through Focus your first time?
Yeah, I
Like,
graduated all my seminars the first time except for principles. Because
okay.
by the time I actually did the seminars, like fucking I was like dedicated to like doing whatever the fuck I had to do to get out of there. Because
Mm-hmm.
they threatened me with Tranquility Bay, and like they said, we're just not gonna, we won't even tell your parents. They've already signed over custody. So yeah, so when that thing happened, I was just like, yep, beast mode. I don't give a fuck. Like I literally just like would be like the very first person in the seminar, stand right up and be like, I was raped when I was 7. This is
Oh my
exactly all the
God.
trauma that I've been through, like just right away, because I knew if I didn't do that, you're gonna get fucking called out or you're gonna get chosen out. And like I saw it because like I saw what happened to people. So
Were
I was
you
just like, I'm
like,
not gonna let that.
were you like not afraid, but yeah, were you like scared? Like I remember being scared of like going into Focus. I remember like Focus was
Oh yeah.
approaching and I was like, oh shit, like and I actually thought I thought I did Focus through and through like the first time, but I just recently looked at my seminar binder and I was looking at my choose out form and I chose out of Focus once. And I remember, I just remember, for example, like being in the hallways and, in line formation walking and then seeing people walk out of the seminar room, like crying, like choosing out of Focus. Cause it was like
Sets you back. Yeah.
a seminar you don't want to like choose. I don't know. It was like a big deal seminar. And, and I remember being like scared of it. Like what's going on in there? Like, why are people like coming out? Like, and cause remember you couldn't talk about the seminars.
Yeah. No,
Well,
you're
you
not
couldn't
supposed
talk anyway, so but you know what I mean. Like
to.
you couldn't talk about them. So
Yeah, so I did that. Yeah, I was definitely scared of him, but especially after like Discovery, I saw like what they were doing, and
hmm
like how like you had to like either stand out or get fucking called out or and picked on, and like you literally like they need to know who the fuck you are, or else they're gonna make everybody know who the fuck you are in
yeah.
America. And
Like
so just like
you
I
gotta
noticed
exploit
that.
yourself or they're gonna exploit you.
Yeah. And see, I consider myself like quote unquote lucky for having trauma, I guess, because a lot of people that went there didn't even have like anything traumatic that really happened to them in their life. And so they had to end up making up shit and then literally keep on like doubling down on that until they
Yeah.
actually like, believed it themselves about themselves. So,
Or if something bad did happen okay, like what's crazy is like the bad kid thing, right? Which that's you can ask me, well, why did you get sent there? It's like, oh, well, my mom thought I was a bad kid, And it's like they ingrained that in our brains so much in the program. I mean, I know I didn't realize it then, but I realize it now. And it was like a constant like nudging at what I didn't need, right? It's like what I needed was love and the program did not provide any of that at all whatsoever. Zero.
yeah.
The only place or time that I found solace or any kind of comfort was with like my felt the people I was there with, Um, like we were family, and I know we couldn't talk to each other and stuff, but there were moments that we could, and there were definitely moments of like, I guess like happiness or just like joy, just like as kids, and like I feel the closest with some like Ivy Ridgers that more than I do with like family members that like been in my that I've known forever, then been in contact forever, but like since I mean, even since, not even since the program, the documentary came out, but since I graduated the program, like I stayed in contact. Like Facebook was not Facebook, MySpace was a thing back then. And so I don't know, it was the people from the program were always very important. Even like the staff, like I was looking at my what are those called? The e-files, the electronic files. And like Jordan, I so badly wanted to go back. Like, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you went to Spring Creek, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Spring Creek had this too. I think all the programs have this, where like you leave, like you graduate, but you are able to go back and like to staff seminars, and you can even stay at the facility, and
You can work
but
there
even like,
too. Yeah.
hmm?
Or you can work. You can start working
I was
there.
just gonna say you can get a job there, and like I was like reading these like emails that I was writing to like the director of activities, just like staff members, right? Like that I was in communication with. And I was like, I just like wanted to go back. And I'm reading these things now and now, right? 20 years later. And I'm like, why the hell did I want to go back so bad? Like that's just so crazy. And it's because unfortunately, I came back home and things did not get better. Things, in fact, got worse. And like, for whatever reason, like the program was like my happy place. It's so messed up. But, I wanted to go back so bad. And I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that then. I realize it now, you know?
Yeah. No, definitely. No,
And I
definitely.
never did go back, but I wanted to. And even in one of the e-files, I say like I don't think my mom would be willing because my mom, again, remember I told you she was very like she sheltered me a lot, and I was already over 18, but still like I lived under her home and under her roof, and I was just like I was asking if I could like stay at the dorms there, and I was like desperate to go back. I'm like it's just it's wild how they brainwash you to even like wanting to go back
Yeah.
and wanting to be there and like recruit people too and ugh, yeah.
Yeah. I've interviewed several people that actually did go back.
Yeah,
And
I know people that went back and I'm
yeah.
like I know people that never kind of left the program and they ended up like living with staff members.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like weird shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like what is wrong? What was wrong with our parents, honestly?
Yeah. Okay. Um, One more question about the seminars. Do you remember the lipo process? So,
Yes,
okay.
I
What
do.
how was that? How was that experience for you? Do you remember much about
I
how?
do I do remember, and it's such like an eerie memory. Like I remember the lighting. Because I don't know if you remember, they make it very dark. It could be super light bright outside, but they make it dark. They make it seem like you're like in the middle of the ocean in the dark, like in you know what I mean? Like they create that, but
Yeah.
that like atmosphere, whatever. So I remember like so I'm a very visual person. So I just like remember that, like it just being super like a very eerie experience. And you know what? I don't remember if I saved myself or not. I think I did. And if I'm not mistaken, there were chairs in the middle of the circle.
Yeah. The lipo. Yeah.
So for some reason, like I don't remember the process. So it's like I remember, but I don't remember. It's like again, it's so shifty in my memory when it comes to I guess certain things like that. Like I remember it. I remember like the doing this. Like I remember it. I remember that you live, you die. Like I remember all of that. Um, and honestly, like I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I'm kind of feeling a little bit like they made it very like dramatic. They made it very like like very representative of what your life is. And that's not like really the case, right? Like now that's what I think now, but I don't know what the fuck was going on back in the seminar back then. You know what I mean? It was like, so I don't, I don't remember like the exact process. Like if somebody, do you remember the process?
I remember it pretty well, yeah.
How, can you like, because like if you tell me, it might like, things might start sparking up in my brain, but like, let me turn on the light, it's a little dark here. But like, I don't remember, like, how does it start? Like, how does it end? Like, and the lifeboat is in focus, right?
Yeah, it's in focus. Yeah.
So and I know that
Yeah.
might be kind of random, I'm asking you, but like, can you refresh my memory?
Yeah, so
Turn it on the light.
at least for us, it started like they had our eyes closed and we were like they did a guided meditation, which was like da 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 da. You're like we're all on a ship in the middle of the
Yes.
we're
Yes.
sailing, and then they go like and everything's going fine, da 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 da.
And
Everybody's
then
having
like boom.
and then but this whole thing like they build it up for like like I swear it was like 20 to 30 minutes. They're building up this like guided meditation and everybody because when they do the fucking bang, I fucking like
Yes.
literally fucking jumped like 3 feet. I was fucking scared the shit out of me. And then they're like and then not expecting it at all. And then they're like
I
now the
remember
ship's
the
going down.
bang.
They're like now the ship's going down. And then fucking then like the lights were off and shit, and there was like that fucking thing in the and everybody had their eyes closed. So during that time, the junior staff staff would be setting up the chairs and stuff like that.
Right.
And then they know what's going on, but everybody else doesn't. And yeah, then they would start the process, and they would have like a circle on the outside and a circle on the inside, and then you would like alternate, and then they'd be like they'd say things like look at this next person, like the dad that abused you or something like that. Does he deserve to live or does he die? Are you going to kill him off? And then they'd like say that's the next person. Think about it like the mom that abused you or something like that. They'd throw in, but they would do it randomly. So they would do that like every like 5 or 6 people. They would like throw in a fucking wild card and be like, think of this person. So like,
I thought it was every person in the circle that you would say you live, you die, you live.
no, you do every person, but like every 6 people or so, there'd be like a wild card where they'd be like, now look at this next person, not as the person they are, but as like your mom that abused you.
Ah, I
You know
see.
what I
I
mean?
see.
And then they
I
throw in these
see.
wild cards. And then I think they did that purposely with like specific people that they knew had like specific traumas with
Of
like
course.
family. And because like everybody, your eyes are still closed. Or no, your eyes aren't closed during this time, but like they know what's going on, and everybody in the circle doesn't really know what's going on. But yeah, essentially you like kill it off until there's like until it comes down to you. And like I didn't even a lot of people didn't even realize in mind that you could vote for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd gotten enough light votes, so they were like, okay, then tell us why you think you deserve to live. And then you're like, you got 5 minutes. And then like I went for like 30 minutes or 30 seconds, and I was like, I don't know anything. I don't know any other reasons. I guess I don't deserve to live then, essentially. And they like broke me down with that. It was more dramatic than that, but yeah, they fucking said, see, you could only go for 30 seconds. You're worthless. Like you don't deserve to live. Like next person, why do you deserve to live? And then the next person would have to come up and like pitch their 5 minutes, and you'd have to talk like the whole 5 minutes, or they would be like, oh, I guess you don't fucking care about yourself enough to fucking guess you're not good enough things to redeem about yourself, you know.
Yeah,
So
that sounds kind of traumatic. That sounds like something I would push back on my my brain real good.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't like I remember, trust me, I remember the chairs in the middle. I remember the circle, and but that's as far as it goes. What was said, like how you said, like they would kind of like use us against each other in a way.
yeah,
Um, like metaphorically, but still.
yeah.
That's so messed up. Yeah, like I don't remember those little details. Um, I feel like okay, so let me ask you something. So if you were saved, like how many saves did you get? Like four or
I,
five
I
or
I have
something?
my seminar binder. It might still be in there. I don't know. It was just like you had to like get a certain number of people that would vote for you to live, like because you could vote for other people. And they would like, like when they'd say live, like it came down to like me being one of the people that was remaining. So
Right.
wait, what was the question that you asked?
So my question was like, so basically like how many, so on the lifeboat, there's only so many that live, right?
Yeah. How many people
So
lived online?
yeah, is it like 4 or 5?
I want to say four. I want to say four people. I want to say four chairs
Four
back to
chairs.
back.
Okay. Yeah, I
I
think I
think
think you're
four chairs.
100% right. And then what happened to the people that died?
I think they just die. Like I can't remember exactly if maybe they had us like lay down or something. I can't remember exactly what about that.
Yeah, I don't
But
remember
I
that
don't.
either.
It would make sense for them to do some shit like that, but I don't know. But yeah, so that's what I was curious about the lifeboat. How
Sorry
long?
that my memory is so, it's like glimpses, and then but then there won't be any mouthing, there won't be any like details to like the visual.
Oh no, 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 it's totally fine. It happens.
Yeah.
Um,
And then some things I remember very well, and it's just the way it is.
did me explaining it help you like visualize it again a little bit?
Yes, 100%. And the meditation part,
It's sure.
we were laying down.
I either lay. I believe we were laying down at least for part of it. I don't know if we were laying down the whole time, but we definitely had our eyes closed the whole fucking time until the fucking they said
We
bang.
we
Because
definitely we definitely had our eyes closed because, like you said, during the meditation is when they were setting up as well.
yep, yep,
So like, yeah, so our eyes were shut, and if I'm not mistaken, we were scattered throughout the whole
yep,
seminar room. We were laid out,
yep,
if I'm not
yep.
mistaken. And then I don't remember the two circles, but that, I guess that makes sense. Like if you live, you would go up, you would step up.
Yeah. No, no, no. The two circles were for so there could be a rotation, and you could always be facing someone new. So
Ah,
like,
gosh, that's right.
you see what I'm
Wait,
saying?
you're
So there would be like an
right.
there would be like an inner circle of people facing outwards, right? And then there would be a fucking outer circle, and then
Wait, you're
those people would be
right.
facing
You're
inside.
like, yeah, we were
And
facing one another,
yeah,
and we would you're right. You're
it,
right. Okay, yeah.
yep,
Yeah,
and then it would rotate like a wheel.
like a wheel. I
They'd
just
like
remembered. Wow,
no,
yeah,
it
I
was
just
step left. They'd be like step left,
yes, step
like
left. Holy
yeah.
shit.
They'd be like live
Yes.
or die, and then step left. You have like
And
five
like
seconds.
and it was quick. Like you were
Yeah, you
standing in front of like your best friend, and it was like
they
you had
didn't
to
give you
kill
they
them
gave you
off or
like
not.
fucking 5 to 10 seconds to decide. They're like, you got 5 seconds left, choose.
Yep.
Like you
I
didn't get to like
remember that.
really like think about it. And yeah, but so yeah, that's what the circles were for.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, as you describe it, definitely takes me
yeah,
back.
like I could draw it right now exactly how it was.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, but yeah, I think honestly the seminars is one big content or one big point where the general public just does not fucking understand. Like they just don't get that. They do not understand what a seminar is like. Like
Yeah.
I feel like if there was a documentary that and I really want to do a Spring Creek documentary, so maybe I'll try and encompass this in somehow, but I want to like somehow maybe recreate that in a way that would like actually like feel very similar to the original. Like feel like you were actually there in the room. Like
Right.
literally there in the room, like da 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 da. Like I don't know how we do that. Like maybe we could do it with AI. We could
Right.
recreate it with AI and literally have like people no. But see, I want it to be like because I want it to hit the general public like I want it to hit their heart. I want it to really like resonate with them and be like,
Right.
this is the kind of bullshit they do. This is the mind control. This is why it like works so well. And why
Hmm.
people come out of the program and like praise the program is because the
Right.
brainwashing fucking works, dude. Like, and
Yep.
there's just so much of the brainwashing that happens in these seminars that nobody fucking like understands. They don't fucking understand it. And then us as survivors, a lot of us have like it's like pitches of black and white. Like we see, the white is what actually happened, but the black is like parts we blacked out. So
Hmm.
it's just really hard to illustrate that to the general public because the seminars have been touched on so many times, but I don't feel like they've been done like justice, if you will. Like I feel like it really needs to be like, you need to feel like you're in the room. It literally
Right.
needs to feel like that real and surreal for you to really get it.
And I think that's why, I think that's one of the reasons why I like so have suppressed some of the memories, because it's really, those seminars are very traumatic, and you're a kid going through these things. So it's like, yeah, like you said, it would be ideal for someone to get a like good understanding, a real understanding of what those seminars are like. It would be like, I don't know, like the best recreation possible, you know, to make, you know, like to make it as realistic as possible. Um, yeah, like those seminars were, you know, um, not only for us manipulated, but also manipulation, but also for our parents
Our parents went through them
or
too.
our siblings, whoever decided to go to the seminars, because you know, the more the merrier with the seminars, you know. So yeah, it's a brainwashing like all around, you know. And unfortunately, like you know, I was so like, I believed in the program so much. I believed that it was going to help my relationship with my mom, which was, you know, like I mentioned in the beginning, tumultuous relationship from a, you know, from being from my childhood. And I mean, I was so much more about the program than like my mom was, for example. Like, yeah, she participated, she went to the seminars, she did PC1, PC2, PC3, but she wasn't like a programmy mom or person, period, which like kind of backfired, honestly, because I became super programmy and I had this life contract. I don't know if did you have to have a life contract? Of course you did, I'm sure. And like I was following that thing to the T. I was looking at it the other day and I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. I cannot believe I wrote these rules for myself like an idiot. Like what was I thinking? And but I was enforcing them at home and my mom wasn't. So I was seeing like what's going on here, you know, this major disconnect of like what I was used to in the program and then like, or what I thought was also what I thought was like right or adequate, and suddenly I'm back home and I see that my mom has no interest. I'm like, wait a minute, you know. That's when I started to like kind of see the program for what it really was. Like I saw the bigger picture, started kind of like I was trying to get into, do you remember I think it was called BBM, the chat for the parents. It was
They
like a
had,
chat. I don't know
I
if it
think they
was
had something similar at the place I went, but it wasn't called BBM, I don't think. Maybe.
I feel like BBM was BlackBerry Messenger. I may be confusing it with something that
Yeah.
would, but we had a platform, and I remember like, you know, a lot of us we would try to like, a lot of us survivors we would try to like, I guess, sneak in to them to into there to see what parents would talk about, because essentially it was just like a shit talking about like their kids.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom like never went on that stuff, but like after I left the program, like I would log in, like I don't know, I found a way to get in, just to see what people were saying, and that's when like the program reality stuff started to click in as far as like what that place really was about, and I had to and I got pissed, I got so mad, I got angry, I was already angry, I was angrier, and I left home. And I didn't last more than like 6 to 8 months once I graduated the program. I had to get out of the house. It's crazy. It's like the program's supposed to bring families together, and all it does, for the most part, I think 99.9% of the survivors that I've spoken to have left their homes. Like if they're not like, you know, still 15, you know, can't leave because they're like underage. If they're out of age, or even some that were underage, they dipped because the
Got
program,
emancipated. Some people
yeah,
got
they
emancipated.
dipped because the program, instead of bringing families together, it tore us apart.
Mhm.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. So, you know, at least that's what happened with me. you know, and like I said, 99% of the people that I've spoken to, it's like, yep, nope, I didn't last back home after I left. Mainly the graduates are the ones that are like, yep, I didn't last long.
Yeah. Because most of the time they're
I
faking
don't know
it.
if you can relate, but like,
Most of the time they're faking it. I was faking it till I made it.
well, I feel like I believed in it. Did you believe in the program? Did you
I mean,
believe it was going to do something good?
there was parts of it that I like believed in, or like
Right.
that I sort of like agreed with. But then there was like, I mean, but that's, I feel like that's why the program worked though, is because it's truth mixed with fiction. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
there's truth sprinkled in there. Like there's
And
good
we're
bits of
little,
shit.
and we're little, so it's like,
You can't really interpret which is which.
yes,
You
you
know?
took the word out of my mouth. Yes, exactly. I mean, we're not dumb. We're just young. And like I said in the beginning, we're not as developed as we are now. Or if we were just a little bit older, and we're kind of like forced to do all those things. It's not like, oh, you know, be your free self, you know, your own child, no, it's like you're immediately like in prison, you know, like it's
Except
crazy.
yeah. um, what was the hardest part about being in the program for you, and how did you handle it?
Hmm. I would say the hardest thing about being in the program was the lack of, I felt like my mom, because my mom was going through her own turmoil and her own stuff. Like I know that she was going through a lot of things. She was going through a really terrible divorce, and so there was a major lack of, like, I guess, interest. Like there were, she wouldn't write to me for like weeks sometimes. I wouldn't hear from her. And this was obviously before like level 3, right? But with level 3, we would get to talk to them, and she was always present for the phone calls. Um, but like I had a really hard time dealing with that, because it was like, you know, I always just like wanted my mom to love me, and that's the only way of like, that was the only form of communication, was like writing to each other. And so it's crazy that's what I feel like was one of the hardest things, but it was really hard not hearing from home, you know. It kind of like, I don't know, it just made me feel like I didn't matter. It just made me it just how can I say this? It made me it reinforced what I already felt about myself, you know? Um eh, because of how I was, you know, like, you know, the upbringing, the tumultuousness and the abuse and stuff. So it was like a, you know, self-limiting belief, and like we said, as kids, we don't know these things. We just like wonder, like, oh, why isn't she writing me? And we blame ourselves. I know that I blame myself, like, oh, because I'm a bad kid, she's not writing me. Like, it's like it was my fault, you know. How I dealt with it, I journaled a lot. I probably cried myself a bunch. Um, and I think at one point I stopped writing my mom, because I was like, all right, you're not writing me, I'm not gonna write you. Um, and and then that and I remember that because I actually I have all of the letters that got sent to me. Um, and I was reading a letter, and my mom was saying, like, you know, if you don't want me to write to you, I won't write to you. And it's also a way of like, how can you tell your kid that? Like if you don't want me to write to you, I'm not going to write to you. Like, of course I want you to write to me. What? Of course you're my mom. Of course I want you there. Like, how about you ask me, like, why aren't you writing to me? Or, you know what I mean? It's just, and I wonder, then this is not me like blaming my mom or faulting my mom, but I wonder if this was like part of the program shit too, you know? Like them telling like, oh, she's not writing to you. Something's wrong with her, you know? Like maybe you should threaten her with not writing her. You know, like I don't know, God knows what the fuck they were telling her. You
Yeah.
know, and my mom was in a vulnerable state. Like I said, she was going through a lot of stuff. And when we're going through a lot of things, we're vulnerable.
Yeah.
You
Definitely.
know?
um, let's see. Did you graduate?
Yes, I graduated. I graduated fake school and I graduated the program.
Okay. How long did it take you to get to onto junior staff, upper levels?
So so I went from so the thing is so I went from level 1 to level 3 like in like I want to say like 5 to 6 months or something. Rather quick for like you know like from the gut, you know. I was like, all right, this is it. And then I got dropped for some stupid shit. I cannot remember what, from 3 to 1, right? 0, right? Like start from scratch. And I was so mad, you know. I was like, so that's when I refused. That's when I like started my refusal stage and it phase. And it didn't last for long, but it was there. And I'm glad it happened. You know why? Because I just did nothing for like a few days. It was like instead of being in line formation, instead of I wasn't refusing, like I wasn't hitting anyone, I wasn't being violent. I just was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like I was just refusing to do anything, right? So they put me in isolation. Um, luckily I wasn't hurt. I wasn't you know, I wasn't thrown to the ground. I do remember having to lay on the ground with my chin on the carpet. That was crazy. Like we had to lay like in a position like that, like down like this on the on this nasty ass rug. God knows what that shit had in there. That's pretty bad. I'm not saying that that's not bad. But you know, you refused enough, they would do things like that, or they would make you face a wall. Um, you know, so back to your question, I started from scratch after that, and it took me longer the second time around to get back up. So, I mean, and I was there for 27 months. So like, I want to say it took me maybe like maybe 9 months to get back up to not back up, but to get to level 4, so get to upper levels. So in total, that's like what, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, like, no, maybe more, because that's 15 months, and I wasn't an upper level for that
Maybe
long.
like 18 months, something like that.
Yeah, maybe about yeah, maybe like 18, 19, 20. Yeah, let's do like, I feel like 18 months would be about right. Because I feel like upper levels flew by. It's the lower levels that took forever.
Yeah.
And then levels 4 through 6, I never dropped. I went on probation once, like it was a whole group of us that did. And and then yeah, and then you know, I you know, thankfully, my God, I would see upper levels drop and I would like I would be like, oh my God, I would literally, I don't know what I would do with myself if I was like level 5 and you drop.
Oh,
Oh
that
my
happened to me a couple times. Happened to me a couple times. Yeah.
As an upper level, you
As a,
drop?
from level
Like,
4, not level 5, but yeah, I dropped from level 4 a bunch of times. Yeah.
oh my,
I dropped into, by the time I fucking got into the upper levels, I was like known around the entire camp. Like they knew who I like because I dropped into every single lower level family there was.
right, that's
Like
right. You would
literally,
drop
like
into a lower level
I
family.
started in honor. I fucking worked my way up, dropped my way into quest, worked my way up, dropped my way into Genesis, worked my way up, dropped my way into respect, and then worked my way up again, and finally got it. It's fucking crazy.
Like,
Yeah.
wow.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like upper levels was was a breeze compared to lower levels. Like, oh my God, it was just, I don't want to say that it was better. I mean, yes, it had its things that were better, but it went by so much quicker, so much quicker.
I so wish I had my fucking file. My file would have been thick, and I wish I had my fucking file, man.
Yeah, same. My file. So I got like 2 batches sent, and it was about the entire stack was about yay. Like I'm not joking. That's a lot of shit in there. And I was moving. I remember it got sent to me. I was like, oh, I'll look at it when I look at it, you know. And then like I was moving. Like this was during COVID, post COVID, around that time. I was like moving stuff around, like organizing, and like I came across my files and they were like wrapped in a plastic bag. They were still in this like in the bag that like it was that they were sent to me in. And I'm like, I haven't touched this in like I've had this sitting here for like a good year and a half. I haven't opened them. I didn't even think. I grabbed them and I just threw them down the trash chute. And now, of course, now I wish I wouldn't have done that, you know, just because curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, I believe in like, you know, life works in mysterious ways, and I was supposed to throw that away. I think I'm better off with that being in the garbage. I still have my seminar binder. That was going through that box. I don't know if you guys had the same thing. We were allowed to have a box which included all of our letters that would get sent to us. Did you guys have that? It would be like it would be a shoe box.
No, but I maybe in the program, but my parents ended up like laminating all of my letters that I sent to them and then putting them in a binder for me when I got home.
Oh my God. Wow. See,
Yeah.
I haven't seen any letters that I wrote home. I've only seen letters that were written to me when I was in the program. And those letters are sad. Like just me reading them, I'm just like, it's weird. It's like I look at it now and it's sad, but like when I was getting letters, you know, when I would get letters back, I was like happy to get letters, but it's so weird, right? Like how you look at that now and you're like, dang, I feel sad for that Dianna back then, you know? Um, Thinking that, you know, that was like happiness when I don't know what a waste, man. What a waste of time,
I feel that, yeah.
you know?
Let's see. Did you guys get to work kitchen there? Did you guys have days
Yeah.
where yeah?
Yeah. That was actually like probably one of like the highlights. Every time we would like
Yeah.
we would get I don't even know what it would call, but every time we would get basically called to on duty for kitchen staff. Oh, it was like the best. It was
I
like
love that shit. Yeah.
yeah, it was the best. It was the
Yeah.
best.
Because you
Yes,
didn't have to do anything all day. You just work in the kitchen.
you would just work in the kitchen literally. And like being a girl, like we would work the kitchen also when the guys were eating. So I also would get to like look at the guys because you know we couldn't like look at the guys and they couldn't look at us. And like I'm a growing girl, so I wanted to look at the boys sometimes. So it was like
Okay.
I was like, oh, I get to see the guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Facts.
And then I don't know if they had this there, but you could eat as much food as you wanted if you worked kitchen. At least at the place that I was at, like.
You know what? I do remember that after you were done,
Yep.
and because you would do like you would do like I remember the girls would eat first and then the guys would eat.
Yeah.
And so we would, you know, do that whole thing, clean up, and then after that, they would give us like extras or whatever. We would, and yeah, I remember, and the kitchen staff was always, out of all the staff, and you'll hear a lot of Ivyridgers say this, the kitchen staff, for some reason, the kitchen staff were the only ones that kind of like treated us like kids, you know? Like I think that they knew what the hell was really going on and they felt bad and they're like, I'm gonna stay in the kitchen. You know, like I don't want part outside of these 4 walls right here. You know, whatever goes on out there, you know, because they were just like very, very sweet with us. And it's funny, I just kind of made that realization now of like that, like, you know, they were better off there. They were not like chefs. Are you joking? That shit was garbage food.
Yeah.
Everybody hired there was not like in the position to be that they were in. So, but yeah, I remember the kitchen staff being like looking out for us, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. What was the stupidest thing you ever got a consequence for?
That's a good question. Did you just say what's the stupidest thing?
Yeah.
I mean, like the stupidest thing is like, damn, there's so many.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let me think. Let me just think of like a good one. Like, okay, the stupid, like so stupid, like, shit, let me think. There's so many. My brain is like going, there's so many. Okay, well,
Just name like 3.
I know, I'm thinking maybe just tell you 3, right? Okay, so um so I thought just it was outrageous. Like you would get a correction for if you looked out the window. Like if you looked out anywhere that wasn't inside, right? You would get a correction. So I thought that was pretty fucking stupid. Like, and they would sit you in front of like windows and you like what you had to just be like this on your computer or whatever, or like this in your book, because at first it was books and then they turned into computers.
Yeah.
Another stupid correction, but like this was like part of the rules, whatever, but still stupid. Like I don't know if you remember, like our showers were timed.
Yeah.
So we would get a late, like if you weren't like out of the shower on time, or like I remember like if you were late, then everybody else would have to put everything back in the cup, back in their fucking lockers. It was like as if you were like they would time you again based on like me because I was late or whatever. I didn't make it.
Yeah.
I was just like by 5 seconds, you know. Another stupid consequence.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember what I got for this, but you're gonna laugh. um, I I was like me and like another survivor. I don't know what like got into us. We're like, let's let's uh let's see what this powder does. It's like baby powder. So we like snorted some baby powder,
Oh, nice.
thinking
Nice.
that it was gonna like do something. And nothing happened. And we just got caught and we got like like a pretty big correction for that. I can't remember what it was, but I guess it was like stupid, but also like, you know, like deserved, but also like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those like, well, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Whenever I'm bored, you know?
What if you had actually gotten ripped as fuck off that?
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know what would have happened. I don't know.
Hilarious.
But it's funny because like we talk about it like, you know, talk about it with the fellow survivor, and it's just like what were we thinking? Like what were we thinking? So yeah. I would say there's so many. I also like thought it was so stupid. Did I mention the looking in the mirror? Like there were mirrors in the bathroom. You couldn't look at yourself in the mirror, but there were mirrors. Like
Yeah.
take the fucking mirrors out. I would get corrections for that. That one was so stupid.
Yeah. Okay. Um, let's see. Uh, um, what happened when you went home? Like, did you get like, how did you get home? Like, when you graduated, and did they have like any sort of graduation ceremony there? Not for school, but like for the program.
Did they have a graduation ceremony where at
Ivyridge.
At Ivyridge? Only at PC3, but like at the actual school, no. Like before going to PC3, for example.
Yeah.
It's a good question. But I don't remember that being a thing. What was your question? Because I remember the latter part of your question.
God dang, now I don't remember. Oh yeah. How did you get home? Like, yeah.
So I did PC3 in California, and it was like straight from there. I went home, back home with my mom, and I believe my sister went to PC3 too. Yeah, one of my sisters was there. And yeah, just got on a plane back home with them, and that's how I got back home.
Okay. And what happened after you got home? Was there any like drug use or anything that you studied with, substance abuse or anything?
I had like, before I went to the program, I had like smoked some pot. I had like dabbled in like some cocaine. And when I got, and I didn't drink. I remember like all my friends drank. I was just like, that wasn't my thing. That wasn't my vibe. But whatever. And when I came back from the program, I remember I was pretty much like heavy into like, not really like heavy, but I started like drinking because I was not underage, but I wasn't of age. I was right, I wasn't of age to drink. Right, I wasn't 21, but I was 19 because I graduated August 05, and in September I turned 19. So I was 19 basically immediately. And I experimented a lot with alcohol, and like the occasional like like usage of cocaine. Luckily it wasn't anything that I didn't get addicted to. It wasn't something that I had to, I didn't get addicted to it. It wasn't something, it was more like a fun party thing, but dabbled in that. um um, I smoked weed, still do. I don't think I can function without weed is the thing. I have a medical license. I have a lot of anxiety. I have a lot of PTSD. Um, and yeah, weed, I think at first it was like a fun, not necessarily like a fun thing, but it was like, yeah, it would get me high, and I would be like, get the munchies, whatever. Now it's like my medicine,
Yeah.
So, yeah, when I got out of, I would say, Jordan, like typical teenage stuff that, teenagers do once they graduate high school. You dabble in some drinking, some like light core drugs, if you will. And yeah, like I said, I still continue, like I still smoke. But I don't, like I said, fortunately, I don't suffer from any sort of substance abuse addiction or anything like that.
Okay. And let's see. Have you tried talking to your parents about how this place affected you? Have they seen the program?
So, my mom passed away September of last year. So she's not here to watch it. And I'll say this though, if she were here, I would want her to watch it. I would probably watch it with her. And that's all I gotta say about that. Now, I did have my sister. So my dad is like non-existent in the picture. So let's just put, because you said like my parents. So
Yeah.
So my dad is, he non-existent in the sense like he's just not like a part of my life. Like, like I definitely was not a part of my life back then. He's kind of like very estranged person. And so yeah, my dad, I don't even think he knows that I went to that school. Um, Now my sister, which she's like older, and she was her and my mom, like I don't know how they found these schools and the wilderness program I went to, but my eldest sister, she's like in her mid 50s, and I like asked her, like, it's like I didn't want to make people like, how can, well, I can't make anybody do anything, but like I didn't want to like kind of like force somebody to watch something, but I really did want my sister to watch this. And so she watched it, my sister watched it, and she would be like the closest thing as like a parent figure, for example. That's why I'm telling you this. And she felt extremely sorry. She was extremely apologetic. She's like, I'm so sorry you went through that. And I've talked to her about things that happened to me there um that they talk about in the program about some of the staff. And so she definitely has a lot of remorse. And a big thing that came up for her too is like like the documentary is called Cons, what is it, like Cons Kids, I don't know, something like that,
Cons, cults, and kidnapping.
kidnapping. And my sister was like, yeah, like I very much feel like conned, like I very much, and I think that's a sentiment like across the board for a lot of parents or people that like were involved in the sending away of the survivor, like feeling like duped, like they you got robbed basically.
Essentially.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. And so, and I told my sister, I said, I'm so happy you watched it. I don't want you to, because she like felt bad. Like I could see it in her face, and I'm like, I didn't want you to watch it so you could feel bad, but I'm happy that you're having this reaction, you know?
Yeah.
Because if it were the opposite, if she were just like, oh no, like, I don't know, acting like, I don't know, like it's all good, then that would be, I would be a little bit alarmed. I'd be like, did you watch the same documentary I watched?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was, I don't want to say that was nice, but it's just real. I don't know anybody that would watch it, that was involved in the process, that wouldn't like actually like feel bad. Um, or feel something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Um, what do you think would have helped you instead of being sent away?
What would have helped is like probably like therapy. I needed not individual therapy. I needed like therapy with like my mom. I think I needed family counseling. Um, that if I would have just had some like real one-on-one time with my mom, and like yeah, like I think there was just such a lack of like love. And then it turned into, as I got older, but not too much older, still a young teenager before I got sent away to the program, it was like I became closed off as well. So it's like Eve, I know now that's what I needed, but I didn't know then that's what I needed. I was just like acting accordingly, which was really, when you're young, you again, it's about the emotional intelligence. You don't think about emotions and being intelligent about them, but you just do, right? Like you kind
Yeah.
of, not impulsively, but you don't really think ahead. You're just living, you're a child. um so, I do feel like if I would have been guided that way towards like family therapy, I think it would have helped numbers, because I believe in therapy. I'm still in therapy now. I've been in therapy for 4 years consistently. And, I believe in it, so I think that would have helped. And it would have given me and my mom, the tools, given us the tools to, to make things better. But I think it was just easier for my mom to like send me away.
Okay. And if you could go back in a time machine and not go through Academy at Ivyridge, knowing what you know now, would you do it and why?
Like not going to Ivyridge, you mean?
Yeah, knowing what you know now.
So you're saying would I go back? Would I be there?
Like if you had a time machine, would you go back in time and not go through Academy at Ivyridge, knowing what you know now?
Okay, so it's a good question. I want to say like no. I'd leave it just as it is.
Okay.
Do you want to know why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like even though I'm still dealing with a lot of like the traumas and the traumas that the program, comes attached with, I gained like some incredible friendships, people that I will never ever like not have in my life, I have like these bonds with people that like I don't have even with my own family, for example. Also, there's like, because I went through what I went through, there's like a level of like of me wanting to help. There's a level of like advocacy that I'm like very, very much into, and like I am more than happy to be a voice for those that don't have a voice. So for those reasons, very like, yeah, it's fucked up what I went through, but like that past that happened, and like yes, I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with now, but luckily like, I'm, like headstrong, and I'm like, dealing with this and coping with it like, as best as I can. And if I wouldn't have had this experience, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I wouldn't be a voice for anyone. And it's insane that like, we're talking about this sometimes when I think to myself, talk about this subject like as if, not like as if it's not still going on, but sometimes I think about that and I'm like, I cannot believe it's still going on. And like like there's still so many schools open. And yeah, I just feel like if I wouldn't have gone through that experience, I wouldn't know that heartache, that pain, also like the healing that comes with it. I think it's made me learn about myself a lot. Um, Especially.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And is there anything else you want people to know about your program experience, or anything that you might tell a parent thinking about sending their kid to a place like this?
Yes, absolutely. If you're thinking about sending your kid to a place like this, I would definitely, this is something that like I talk about a lot with fellow survivors, like the amount of like of I guess options besides sending your kid away. There are options. There are other ways to help your child. And you know, there's oh my God, there's so much I could say, but you know, it um like talk to your child, like talk to them, like try to understand them, not send them away. Sending them away is just doing the opposite of understanding them, the opposite of loving them. Because at the end of the day, it's probably what they need. I know for myself, that's what I needed. Like just literally just I just needed to be loved. Like you know, and listened to. And, you know, if you're thinking about sending your kid away, look for other options. You know, there's therapy. There's just other ways, you know. And the first step is like communicate, talk to your kid, like talk to them. They're human, and you know, just because they're young doesn't mean that they don't understand. You know, you gotta like talk to them like they do understand. And if they don't, you help them understand, you know. I felt like I wasn't like guided very well because I was sheltered too much. Like, don't over shelter your kids either. Like, that's not good. You know, it's not going to create a good dynamic. So, you know, it starts at home, you know, everything, like the behaviors, everything. So it really is just a reflection on our parents, like who we are, definitely as kids. So, you know, I think it's important for parents to recognize that and to validate that and to realize and recognize that that is just how it is for children. And in this day and age, I mean, I'm talking back, you know, when I went to the program in '03, you know, now with all the technology and social media, I mean, you know, as a parent, it's probably tougher. But you know, don't like stray away from your kids. Get closer to them, and sending them away is like the last thing that they need. Even though you might think it's the best, it's really not the best. And what they really need is the love from the family and support. So yeah, I think I would say that to anyone that would want to send or is thinking of sending their kid away.
Okay, and I just thought of a few more questions. What was the worst thing that you saw or heard about at Academy at Ivy Ridge?
So the worst thing I actually witnessed was we were in line formation right outside like the kitchen and the cafeteria. And um there was a girl in my family, um one of the male staff. So we were in the cafeteria was where like the boys classes were, so like kind of like the boys dorms, whatever. So the guys were like, it's like we were in line here like against the wall, and the guys were in line like here against the wall, right? Like we couldn't look at each, right? We couldn't look, we kind of blah blah blah. And one of the male staff members said something derogatory to I can't remember what was said. There were so many statement of facts written of this. Um, he like said something inappropriate to one of the girls in my family, and she did not stay quiet. She like defended herself, like she spoke up, and he 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 didn't like drop kick her, but he what is it called? Restrained her on the ground. And a whole bunch, like everyone in our family, like maybe not everyone, there was a few that just like stayed there like in shock. I know I was one of the ones that was like in shock, but everybody was like, get off of her, get off of her. Like it was like a big fucking thing. It was like, get off of her. And like all the girls, like the boys were just like in line. The boys just weren't moving. Um,
Yeah.
and and it was really traumatic because you would just her name. I don't maybe I won't say her name. I just remember like they like took her off, and we didn't know where the fuck they took her. And it was like we just wanted this man to get off of her, and we heard what he said to her too. So we were like we were pissed, you know. And thinking about it now, I'm like ooh, like yeah, kind of crazy, seeing, you know, just not kind of very crazy and completely inappropriate. I remember so well, like as if it were yesterday. And some of the boys remember too. Um, The boys wrote a bunch of statement of facts on this. And yeah, I remember that. That was pretty messed up. I saw other things too. There's a girl once that like I was an upper level in this one. I was on a lower level. She drank like a shit ton of bleach and we couldn't find her. And so I didn't see her drinking the bleach, obviously, but we found her and she was like not good. And that was really traumatizing too. There were a few things that I witnessed that were like really fucking fucked up. A girl threw herself from the second floor of the stairs. We don't know what happened to her.
Okay.
Like crazy shit.
Okay. And did you ever hear about any grooming or witness any grooming of staff members to students or
Yes.
sexual abuse?
Yes, I did.
Witnessed or heard about? Or both?
Witnessed, heard about, and sadly I was a part of it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And let's see. A couple more questions. Damn it. Now they're slipping my mind. Fuck. And they were important too. They were good questions. Damn it. Okay. Yeah, I can't think of them right now. So I think that's good. I think we're good so I think we're done with the interview. Thank you guys so much for listening in. And yeah, we will catch you on the next one. Peace out, y'all. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. That'd be awesome. And we will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Thanks.